What do I mean when I say hyperfocus? Also, shout out to Chris. This is a video made just for him, another buddy of mine with ADHD. Merry Christmas. Hyperfocus is one of the most well-known symptoms when it comes to ADHD, and probably one of the most common ones as well. It's really ironic too, because we have the exact opposite symptom. It's either so hard for us to focus on anything at all, or we just can't even not focus on something. Like, we're just so intently focused on it that the rest of the world is gone and shut away. Now, something a lot of people might not realize about hyperfocusing, is that, especially those without ADHD, is that we have no control over it. We don't pick when to start, we don't pick when to stop. It just happens. We forget to use the bathroom, and as soon as we snap out of it, we have to rush and take a piss before our bladder explodes. We forget to eat, and then, oh, it's midnight, and you missed dinner, and oh, everything's cold. I don't know, should I just go to sleep? Or, oh, I forgot to feed my dog, I forgot to do my homework, I forgot all of this stuff because my brain just decided, hey, we're doing this and nothing but this. A personal example of mine is when Skyrim first came out, I was so intently focused on playing that game that our security system went off because my mom was messing with it, and the whole house was alarming like crazy, almost like a fire alarm. And then my mom walks in the room and she's like, "You didn't hear that?" I was so focused in on the game, the blaring alarm just was completely shut out. To be fair, I was wearing headphones, but you could still hear it with the headphones on, trust me. A very famous example used by Dr. Ned Halloway is, it's like our brain is a race car engine and we have bicycle brakes. It is really powerful and really fast, and it just goes off at insane speeds. But as soon as we try and stop it or go a different direction or anything like that, it all just crumbles away. So this is with hyperfocus. We can't really stop ourselves. This is with task switching. It's really hard for us to decide to do something else when we're so deep into one thing, because it's like, oh, I've got my groove going, I've made this progress. As soon as I leave it, I'm gonna have to build the groove back up, and basically you're losing efficiency at that point, but to a heavy degree. Another way I like to look at it is fuel. Me personally, I don't know if everyone else with ADHD feels this way, but I feel like a lot of others I know do, at least. And it's that we have a somewhat finite amount of fuel in a day, less than most neurotypical people. So we could burn all that fuel, say, at work, and then we get home and then we're just exhausted and drained and don't want to do anything else. Or on our day off, we have so much fuel we need to burn, but maybe we have nothing to put it towards. So we're just kind of sitting there with our engine idling and just kind of going crazy. Like, me personally, if I don't have something to put my energy towards, even if I'm exhausted from the day previously, I start getting depressed, I start getting anxious, I start getting all these things where just I feel like I need to do something and I have nothing I can do. So to relate this back to hyperfocusing, it's kind of like our brain tries to optimize how we burn fuel, and when it finds something it can absolutely latch onto, something that really gives us that dopamine rush, it just dumps all the fuel into the engine and just goes as fast and as long as it can. It just totally burns you out, and you can get burned out in other ways too, but basically at the end of a hyperfocus session, usually you only got out of it because you ran out of fuel. Or something else snapped you out of it, like an alarm, someone else came in, so many different things. But if nothing else stops you, it's because you ran out of fuel usually, or maybe finished the task. But even then, usually you get onto another task and 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 another. So this is actually where stimulant medication comes in handy for me personally. I honestly don't like taking it a lot, mostly because the way I see it is it kind of gives me more fuel, but it also forces fuel into my engine more. So I get anxious, I get really fidgety. Like, if I don't have anything to put my energy towards, it's just kind of like I get really restless and I have to do something, but then there's nothing I can do. So it's just exacerbating the symptoms I mentioned earlier when, like, your engine's idling. But then where it comes in handy is when I actually do have something to put my fuel towards. Like, let's say if a family outing that's going to go really long and you know you're going to get exhausted during it, or a task that you really need to get done, or sometimes at work. It depends. Sometimes I get really anxious at work on it, but it does help me get the work done at the very least. In that regard, it kind of feels like I'm burning my fuel cleaner and longer, so it lets me actually switch tasks a bit better. It improves my breaks, kind of, and it keeps me from getting that burnout so quickly. So yeah.